Helmut Marko has just dropped a huge bombshell that sent shockwaves through the heart of Red Bull racing and left Max Verstappen's future hanging by a thread. This isn't just another post-race analysis or routine criticism. This is something far deeper. A stunning public admission from the man who has long stood as Verstappen's fiercest defender and the architect of Red Bull's dominant era. His latest remarks have exposed not only a growing tension within the team, but a potentially irreversible fracture between its biggest star and the institution that made him a champion. Because what happened at the Spanish Grand Prix wasn't just an on-track error or a misjudged maneuver. According to Marko himself, it was the culmination of emotional volatility, strategic confusion, and a growing sense of frustration. Frustration so powerful that it spilled over into actions that stunned even Red Bull's most experienced figures. When Verstappen ignored team orders, clipped Russell's car, and then publicly expressed doubt in Red Bull's pace and title hopes, the internal alarm bells weren't just ringing, they were blaring, and Marko, instead of downplaying it or shielding his driver from criticism, he went on live television and admitted that he no longer understands what Verstappen was thinking. "I don't know what kind of thought process was going on inside him," he said. "For a team known for its unified front, this statement is seismic. This is a man who's guided Max through every stage of his career, suddenly casting doubt on the mental clarity of the reigning world champion. But it doesn't end there. This outburst, this penalty, this public disagreement, it's the latest in a series of warning signs that Red Bull's perfect storm is brewing. The upgrades aren't working. The strategy calls are falling flat, the car is suffering from unexpected tyre degradation, and now, the driver, who once seemed untouchable, is accumulating penalty points and raising questions about whether this season is already slipping away. So what does it all mean? Could this be the start of a civil war within Red Bull? Is Verstappen losing faith in the team's vision? Or is this simply the pressure of greatness cracking through the surface at last? You won't want to miss a second of what's coming next. Because the pieces are shifting, the power dynamic is changing, and Red Bull could be heading into its most turbulent chapter yet. So, before we dive into the full story behind Marko's shocking comments and what it means for Verstappen, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us until the very end. Because what Helmut Marko just revealed could change everything. And here's where things get even more dramatic. Because this wasn't just a one-off blunder. According to several insiders, Verstappen's behaviour in Spain was only the most visible symptom of a much deeper issue brewing within Red Bull. Behind closed doors, there's growing concern that the balance of power within the team has shifted, and not in a good way. For years, Red Bull was a well-oiled machine built around Verstappen's strengths, his aggression, his confidence, his ability to take control of a race and bend it to his will. It all worked because the machinery and the leadership were in sync with his instincts. But now, the cracks are beginning to show. The updates aren't working. The strategy calls are becoming more reactive than proactive. And Max, for all his brilliance, is starting to look isolated in a team that no longer seems built around his needs. Helmut Marko, usually one of Verstappen's staunchest defenders, now seems unsure of how to manage his protégé's outbursts. His appearance on service TV wasn't just surprising, it was a statement, a warning flare. If even Marko, the architect of Verstappen's rise, is starting to publicly question his judgment, then we may be entering uncharted waters. And then there's the matter of the penalty points. Verstappen now sits dangerously close to a race ban, something no one, not even the most aggressive drivers in the past decade, has come close to while still being in a title fight. One more incident, one more miscalculated lunge, and the reigning champion could be forced to sit out an entire Grand Prix. The psychological toll of that looming threat cannot be underestimated. Every decision from now on carries extra weight. Every duel, every defensive move, every moment of hesitation could have championship-altering consequences. Internally, Red Bull is scrambling to regain control of the narrative. Some engineers have reportedly raised concerns about communication breakdowns during the race. Others point to a lack of direction when it comes to car development. Whatever the cause, The result is the same. A team that once thrived on cohesion and confidence is now operating in a cloud of doubt. And the consequences could be catastrophic. McLaren's momentum is rising. Ferrari is steadily improving. Mercedes, despite its inconsistencies, still poses a threat. Red Bull doesn't just need Verstappen to drive fast, they need him to lead, to inspire, to keep the team focused and hungry. But that's nearly impossible to do when even your most trusted advisor is questioning your decisions on live television. Fans have taken notice too. Social media is ablaze with speculation. Is Max cracking under pressure? Is Red Bull losing its edge? Will this be the year that internal fractures finally bring down the empire? These aren't just fan theories anymore. They're legitimate concerns being echoed in the paddock. So what now? Red Bull has to act. Not with press releases or vague reassurances, but with performance, with clarity, with the kind of strategic discipline and technical excellence that defined their golden era. Because the truth is, this isn't just a rough patch. It's a crossroads, the kind that either breaks champions or forges new ones. Verstappen's apology may have been a step in the right direction, but it's not enough. What matters is what comes next. In Canada, in Austria, in Britain, will he bounce back with focus and fire? Or will the pressure, the penalties, and the mounting doubt drag him and Red Bull further into disarray? One thing's for sure, the spotlight has never been more intense. Every camera is now locked on Verstappen. Every pit wall radio is being analysed. Every overtaking move, every defensive line, every word he says to his engineers is being scrutinised like never before. This isn't just racing anymore. This is pressure on an entirely different level. And the tension isn't just external. Inside Red Bull, there's a growing sense that the harmony which once made this team unbeatable is starting to fracture. The synergy between driver, car, and command centre, once their greatest asset, now feels like it's under strain. And if they don't course correct fast, they won't just lose races. They could lose the very foundation that their dominance was built on. Because let's be honest, the cracks are visible now. From Helmut Marko's blunt public comments to Verstappen's uncharacteristic misjudgments, we're seeing signs of a team that's no longer speaking with one voice. The pressure of the 2025 season, the rise of rivals like McLaren and Ferrari, the weight of expectation, it's all converging at once. And unless Red Bull finds a way to realign, the situation could spiral into something far worse than a penalty or a lost podium. It could become a full-blown collapse of trust and momentum. That's why what happens in the next few races is absolutely critical. Will Verstappen regain control, reset mentally, and lead the charge? Will Red Bull deliver the upgrades and the strategy necessary to keep him in the title fight? Or will we look back at Barcelona as the exact moment when the empire began to fall apart? Whatever happens, one thing is certain. This story is far from over. So if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. Because the next chapter could change everything we thought we knew about Red Bull, Max Verstappen, and the 2025 championship. If this is the beginning of the end, then trust me, you won't want to miss how it all unfolds.